Hey everybody, it's Eric from EPautos.com, your libertarian car guy. Thought I'd talk a little bit this morning about something that I heard about the other day. I haven't had time yet to verify whether it's actually the case, but I've heard that Howard Stern is going to be pushed into retirement, that Sirius XM is not going to renew his deal, and so it's going to be the end of the Howard Stern show after I think 20-something years. Now, I've been listening to Howard for even longer than that. You know, he was the guy who replaced the Grease Man, for those out there who know what I'm talking about, at DC 101 back in the 80s and 90s. I grew up listening to the Grease Man, who got forced off the air, not so much for politically incorrect comments that he made, but for apologizing for those politically incorrect comments, which was foolish of him because, you know, the people demanding the apology don't want an apology. They certainly don't want forgive and forget. They just want to grind that guy to the ground and get rid of him. So that was the Grease Man's mistake. Now, Stern, to his credit at the time, he never apologized, and he was astute enough to get himself a black woman's sidekick, Robin Quivers, which helped to defray the politically incorrect comments that he made. Now, you may be wondering where I'm going with this, and here it is. I used to be a big fan of Howard's. I listened to him, as I said, for many, many years, because he was so irreverent, because he would talk about, you know, forbidden topics, and he would make light of things that we're not supposed to make fun of. But the point I'm trying to make is this guy built a career on that sort of stuff, on politically incorrect jokes about black people, other minorities, about people who had physical disabilities, all of that sort of stuff. And yet he came out as this kind of left-wing reactionary during COVID. You know, all of a sudden he was very much anti-Trump. And again, I'm not tooting Trump's horn, I'm just making a point that he became sort of one of these aging leftists who, you know, all the pretense of being kind of a rebel and of being against the man, we saw that that was a lot of crap, just like it was with aging rock stars like Bruce Springsteen and Dee Snider, who, you know, when they were young, they made a lot of money, portraying themselves as rebels. They didn't like the man. They didn't like being told what to do. And all of a sudden, Howard was going along with, they and Howard going along with the government telling us what to do with regard to things like wearing a mask and taking the vaccines and all of this other stuff. And he just became this left-wing old man constantly railing about Trump, yada, yada, yada. And it turned off a great many of his longtime loyal listeners, me among them, just the same as a lot of people who used to like Springsteen and a lot of these other 80s and 90s era musicians. When they got political and they started just tub-thumping all this left-wing liberal woke stuff, they decided they didn't want to listen to their stuff anymore, and that goes for Howard as well. So it's kind of just desserts, I think, you know, to see that Stern has lost his audience. Part of me hates to see him go out this way. I would have rather that he retired on his own terms if he hadn't turned out to be the hypocrite that he's proved to be. It's sad because I do think the guy has got talent. I know a lot of people will disagree with me and they'll say that he's vulgar and coarse, and he is, but he's also insightful, and he was clever, and he was entertaining. So, you know, just mixed blessings, mixed thoughts about all of this, and I just thought I'd offer up a few words. I may write something about this too, which you'll be able to find over at EPautos.com, the web's best libertarian gearhead site. Thanks as always for listening, and we will have more for you soon.